an Undo today, Immutable X. There's many altcoins I want to speak around with you guys today. So today is very much a altcoin show. We do have CPI. I want to speak around the volatility, what we can look to expect, and the two major plays. As you can see over the last couple of weeks, price is really condensing. We're getting to a point where a massive move is about to happen. And our goal here is to make sure that we are prepared for that major move. So guys, smash it up. It's been a while since I've been live. Missed you all. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like Sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Fam, how are we doing? How are we doing? Guys, I'm giving away $400 today. Anyone using a WEEX link and you've used my link, the account is active. I'm putting money into your guys' accounts today. So let's jump into it. We do have CPI today. I think they're expecting a slightly lower result, which I think will be pretty good for the markets. But nonetheless, we're looking for, it's basically expected at 3.4%. This is happening now in the next 2.5 hours, which means we've got some volatility entering the markets. But more importantly, we're kind of just waiting for a bit of momentum. Now, you got to remember, there's going to be catalysts in the markets, and then you're just going to have natural momentum. So the idea with catalysts are there to just break certain areas, and then natural momentum starts to take price, right? So it's all around, if we break a big level to the up or downside, right? Everyone talks about it, starts to go a little bit more viral, and that's when people start piling in or panicking out of the market. So the more we kind of look at it, we can just see that Bitcoin's really been hovering around this area, right? More really been just squeezing at these zones here between the areas of 62 and 66,000. But as you can see, price is just really starting to narrow down, right? And again, if you kind of look at this in the 4 hour, it is showing us that we should see some movement now in the next 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, we have CPI. I think PPI is this week as well. I'll have a look at that. Nonetheless, day by day, and once we get above here, there's strength to $70,000, and below here, there's possibilities of testing the new lows. The only time I'm thinking $40,000 is, again, once we start closing or relaxing a little bit below 58,000. Until then, I actually am thinking of 70. I'm even thinking of $80,000 into later end of the year. So a couple of things to go through here on the short-term basis. Volatility will obviously start to increase. Let's just get my charts back here. Okay, so this is all you basically need to understand when it comes to the Bitcoin chart right now. This is the last basically, 3 weeks or so. Okay, you literally want to put this bottom trend in, and you literally want to put the top trend in over here. Right, this is basically the range we're getting in. Now, again, the good sign is it's starting to clamp down, which means price is getting less and less and less and less and less. And when we tend to do that is when we're going to see a big move. Now, secondly, what I also want to kind of add to this is I do want to add the accumulation period and just tell you guys that it's a decent amount of accumulation. Right, we're coming all the way from the beginning of June here. So we're seeing around 2 months of accumulation. And when 2 months of accumulation finally exit the range, right, you can have enough power and steam, right, for as long as we accumulate it to either have a strong momentum push up to the 80,000s, and you do have enough steam if we're going to go into the 40,000s for that to happen once we are through this area over here. So accumulation is preparation for the next major move. So again, what we want to see for anything to think bearish, if we think bearish here and we look at lower levels, what I mean by that is you're taking tequilas at the right time. When market starts to accelerate, you ain't jumping in and chasing, right? You're waiting for markets to slow down for when it's the time, right, to have shots again. So you're having water on the way up. What I basically mean is flushing some cash into your bags, right? And then fishing in and getting in at the market. So I do think it is a time for us to have a tequila, yes. Okay, so again, what do we need a catalyst to do, right? CPI, get us above $67,000. From there, natural momentum starts to kick in, right? Everyone starts to see, charts start going around, everyone starts to talk, and we start having a natural squeeze of momentum come through. Okay, then we're going to get to a very, very, very important signal, right? Which will be this area of $70,000, okay? Which is the 200-day moving average. Guys, if we start popping through here, you're going to see interest come back very quickly, right? And if you look at this here, right, we could easily, the first target is 70,000. Okay, then like I said, when it comes to September, October, November, I do think we start making our way into the late 80s to $90,000 zone, right? But who knows how fast we can get there when it comes to momentum. Crypto has this way of waking up and not stopping, right? And letting everyone sit on the sides, right? Trying to get in, because remember, a pump to 70,000, what's everyone's brains going to think? That will pull back. right? It will pull back. Just 2 seconds. Yeah, everyone automatically will think price will pull back. Therefore, price gets higher, 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 higher. They can't stand it anymore. They FOMO in. Then the pullback basically starts to come into play. Then it's the same thing with the catalyst of things not going good today. Market not reacting well, right? And the catalysts there are going to be stock markets. We will go through now in a sec, right? But that is basically steam for us to lose 62,000. Then you start to see some acceleration. Then you start to see fear, and natural momentum starts to kick in, right? So for now, as it stands, right, the bullish scenario is to be buying here at support, right, with stops below this area over here, right? But it's a laddering in method. Because it's a volatility day, right, it basically means, hey, I'm taking 30% of my bet, 40% of my bet now, and on confirmation, I'll add more, right? This FOMO thing is a big problem that catches many off of guard. So for me, what I'm looking for is I do have positions here, but when I see daily closes outside of this trend is where I'm going to add to those positions and start updating my stop losses, right? That's basically the strategy and the play of what I'm doing now, just to protect if it goes against us, right? I'm only losing on 30, 40%. I'm not losing on 100% or bigger sizes when it comes to capital size. Then a couple of things to pay attention to is the USDT dominance, right? This thing is getting to a point where of a very uprising weekly flag, right? Or flag, uprising wedge. Okay, just know that if we can get a catalyst over the next 2 weeks to lose this, we're very likely going to have many months of a great time. Right. So we are at this big volatility point where the market's either going to decide to go down to 40 or we are getting ready to go down to go up to 80, right? Okay, then let's get us to this one over here, which is what we want to see catalyst happen today, right? Is the altcoins. Altcoins, as you could see, are literally days away from a very big break up or down, right? As you see this over here, it's very clear that when it comes to altcoins, where to be protecting yourself. Yesterday was actually a little bit of a tricky day. I got stopped on an ETH position and I got stopped on a Doge position, and then they took off, right? So I want to speak around that again of where I'm basically looking for new entries. My Solana and Chainlink are just ripping, right? Doing incredibly good. I still have one little Doge position, but I want to get some more in. So yesterday was tricky, but I think that trick brought in volume. Right, so what we want to see now is we want to see a catalyst of the altcoins breaking out of this trend here. Breaking out of here, there's a big move up to 200-day. Right, so again, the play here is to take some bets over here, stop loss here, and add on confirmation. But what it also means is a bunch of altcoins are sitting below the trend. Therefore, if you go here, you will see some altcoins red, some altcoins green right now, right? The green ones are the ones that are starting to break outside of the trend, right? The red ones are still sitting below the trend. But that changes very quickly as markets start to rise up, right? Altcoins are kind of like these jealous friends that when they see their friends go out, right, they first like, oh, let them go out, their place is crap. And then when they start to see the videos on Instagram and the stories on Instagram of people dancing on tables and stuff, right, then they will want to come be a part of the journey. Right, so the idea here when it comes to altcoins is to move where strength is, right? To trade ones that are breaking the dailies, okay, but also knowing in fact that tomorrow another 3 will break daily. And that's what's nice about alts specifically is every couple of days new ones will come to the club and they'll start to move. But what we're really paying attention to here is the best entries you get in the markets, right? And the best entries come through on the daily break of trends. Right, so that's the catalyst we need, and from there we should see some strong momentum. Anything bearish, right, is us closing below this area over here. And again, that just comes down to the sense. Remember, trading is probability, right? It's about this thing has come down this much, right? And ask yourself the simple question now. Okay, cool. So let's speak around this for a second. So if we look at where we are on the weekly now on altcoins, and we look at where the next major supports are, right? That's down in this area. So it's okay, cool. Let's short. Let's be bearish, right? Let's short this down over here. But then I ask you the question. I say, okay, what happens if you get it wrong, right? If you get it wrong, where can price go? Right now, a lot of you guys know this, or I've spoken about this many times, but price, when it is bearish and it tends to go to the mid-range of where it dumped previously, right? So you can easily say for as much as we came down, we can go halfway back if things turn bullish, right? And that's not even bull market. That's just a retest of a lower high type of view. So if I put this here and I say, okay, is that a good trade? Right? Is that a major good trade? Then again, you basically do the other way around and you say, okay, So if I want to long here, right, you can currently see where the better risk to rewards are right now. Right? Now, again, if you want to go to the point of saying, hey, this thing back to the top, it gets terrible. Right? Come to a point of what we spoke about today. You know, I spoke about the risk to reward right now in the longs, but we are saying, hey, let's do that. Let's tighten the stop. Let's protect our risk. Let's put it below the previous lows here. All right? And let's work to look at the risk to rewards now. Right? If you do want to be short, there is a way you can do the exact same thing. Is short here. There we go. That's a decent. That's the choice now in the play, and that's what's nice about why we're at the wedge and why you can get an early insight of what can happen next. Risk to rewards are just incredible right now on either move that plays out. Right? For now, we're above support, so I'm personally going long in the markets. Okay, but that's the major play of when it comes to. Now, let's get into our altcoins. So first thing I get in, I just want to see some liquidity. As you can see, liquidity is literally all over the place. So don't be surprised if CPI does this. Right? So to go back into it here, let's just quickly zoom in here. Don't be surprised on CPI if it does something like this. Right? So two plays possibly that I see happening here is the fake pump, the dump, and break. That's one play. Right? The second one is the dump. Second play that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any major shock incoming. If there's a bad shock that comes through, then we'll drop and accumulate below this trend of 62,500. Right? So those are the two ideas I have when it comes to the short-term volatility. Good bounces. Guys, look how unlucky my stop was on ETH. Gross. Look at that. The closing can. Look how it just wicked. Terrible. However, I'm still very much interested in ETH, right? I'm just going to give it a little bit more time and say, okay, there's the top trend over there. When we start closing above the top trend, I'm going to long and start building some more ETH. For now, I'm actually sitting for the scenario that CPI does this to us today. All right, so my longs are sitting here at 1,850. Again, nonetheless, I have been bullish on ETH. I do think ETH is going to go into the 2,000s over the next couple of months. Okay, the next one that's breaking out is Solana. So I spoke around these entries here at 74 to 75.5. As my entries. That still stays. So if we get this play over here, I think Solana comes available. Nonetheless, we've been accumulating and building Solana positions, right? So Sol for me is on its way to the mid 80s, if not $100, right? So Solana is one that's really looking good. Chainlink's looking good. Great daily yesterday, starting to pick up some steam now today. So this one's looking amazing. Now let's speak around new positions that are available today, right, to build. So the first one I want to show you guys here. Let me just not give all my personal information away here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, is Hype. Right, Hyperliquid. Guys, remember, anyone that doesn't have a WEEX account, there's links below in the description. We are doing a giveaway, right? 5 randoms get $100. I'm going to be doing a giveaway in the stream and putting some money in your guys' accounts. And then we also have a little bit of you know, whoever's trading, there's a volume prize that's happening over here. Total prize of $5,000 to you guys. Anyone with a WEEX account, if you don't have one, there's a link below in the description. You can sign up over here. Great exchange. Okay, let's jump in here and show you guys what I'm seeing on Hype. Now, just remember, guys, volatility, high time frame increasing, so you're giving trades a little bit more space, right? When it comes, because you don't want short-term volatility to kind of shake you out. Okay, but I want to show you guys this over here. Let's just see my correct. Here we go. Okay. So go here to the 4-hour. You'll see that we put in our first 4-hour higher high, right? Then you can see we are making this nice channel in play over here. Right, nice descending wedge, descending channel that you can see over here. So for me, I'm looking for a nice break above $56 and I'm longing Hyperliquid, right? I'm looking for a push up to show you guys. The first area is $66, right? That's the first basic trade setup that I'm seeing. But again, for a little bit higher time frame, I'm also looking for possibilities to the high. So Hyperliquid is one of the first plays that I want to speak around. And the next one I want to speak around for you guys is XRP, right? So let's go here to XRP, jump into XRP, right? And just show you guys this. So the important play here that I want to pay attention to is this long trend that's coming down here, right? So CPI, this is one that hasn't broken out yet. If CPI goes good today, you're going to see a bunch of altcoins fly, right? So one that I'm looking that's interesting, okay, is I want to see a pop from XRP. So the areas around 1.5, something like this, and this is going to be my entry points for XRP. Okay, so one to keep on the boilers right now and keep ready. Now, why am I saying XRP and why am I speaking about today if the trend's higher up? Because if you zoom in slightly more and you go to the next major trends, you could see we are very close for a first push up to that major trend. So this can also be a nice little starter entry, and then the break of the major trend can be a add-on to the upside, right? So we do have XRP over there in play. Then I want to speak around Dogecoin, guys. So Doge, I do think is still in spot entries, but great entries on Doge. Right, yesterday, a little bit of short-term volatility, okay, but we have now closed outside of this trend. So on the scenario that we see a dump from CPI, I want to see a push down here, and then I want to see a push up. So entries for me are sitting here at basically 7.1 cents marks. Spot entries, we're still in the spot zone right now. Stop losses are still sitting around 6.9, 6.93 area over there when it comes to those. Okay, let's go through NEAR protocol. This is a great spot entry. Okay, guys, so again, actually a little bit of choppiness yesterday. It had a little shakeout yesterday. A volume stepped in, which is a good sign, right? 2 good volume bars coming in on the daily over the last 2-3 days, right? So that's a good sign to see. But secondly, we have broken outside of this trend, right? So entries are sitting here between the 1.63 to the 1.66, right? Stop losses just under the 1.6. Okay, and I'm looking for a strong push up to the mid $2 range, right? Early $2, 2.1, and I got 2.4 as my 2 targets. So NEAR protocol, one of the hot ones that are now showing some strength in the markets. Okay, Cardano, guys, just want to remind you that Cardano has broken out of a big trend and retesting as we speak. So this could be a nice little spot entry that we could see over here. Okay, this one needs a tiny little bit more room when it comes to stop loss. So you are looking at anywhere of up to a 10% stop, okay, for a reward, okay, of up to 80 to 100%, right? So good risk to reward here. It's a little bit more of a spot entry. If I want to trade this, a little bit more leverage or less risk than that, what you want to do is you want to zoom into the 1 hour, the 4 hour, okay? You want to draw this top trend in, and that's the execution trend over there, right? Then let's speak around Fetch AI. One that I'm accumulating some spots. I want to remind you guys, we are sitting right at the bottom range over here. Okay, so for a long-term position, something that I've been dollar costing slightly at this major level over here. Nothing too crazy on the short-term time frame for now. Okay, but high time frame I've been accumulating. Then there's this one over here, which could be hours away from breaking out, Ondo. Right, so Ondo's making this long descending wedge over here. Keep an eye out for this possible breakout over here. Once it breaks and has a 4-hour close above, I put a stop loss below here. Guys, also just think a little bit, I won't say common sense, but if you see massive candle and the closes, you're not buying there, right? You want to see a close and you want to buy nice and tight just outside of the trend with a nice stop loss below. But this is one that I'm seeing for a push up to 41 to 42 cents, right? So this is one that interests me quite a bit when it comes to today. Okay, guys, who has a WEEX account? You have a user ID. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, let me know. Is it right? Okay, sweet. Let's do this quick. Let's send this over quickly. Okay, so then guys, I'm in a sec. I'm going to quickly talk around stock markets, because I think that's important. Stock markets are an important play here to pay attention to right now. Okay, let's withdraw. Okay, 8-3. Maybe you guys are excited for the rest of the year. I'm very excited because I know the moment this market's wakes up, we are going to be doing so much altcoin trading together, which excites me. One thing I can say about WEEX, they really have good security. Someone to rob you can take a lot of work. Okay. Let's go. Internal user ID. Okay, I'm doing $180 to you. $180. Well, I gave away like $1,400 in the last 2 weeks. A bear market, it's a lot of money. So guys, personally, this is my funds that I'm sending to you guys. Okay. Done. Check it out. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. Okay, let's jump back in here for a sec. Okay, so I want to speak around gold. I actually just shorted gold. Just for a nice little hedge to CPI. So I'm a little bullish on Bitcoin, but I just shorted gold for a nice little shakeout here of a 2-3% move. However, it's looking good. You know, this is a good push up. Just know that gold is coming to 200-day moving average. So when it comes to gold, there might be a little bit of cool down that's happening over here. So I took a nice little short-term short into CPI. Let's see how that goes. Just remember, guys, anyone that's trading, think about it today. You're basically slightly at the casino today, where if you're taking bets, you're taking 20% of your capital bets. Once the volatility is done over 2-3 hours, real moves will happen and you'll have new opportunities for new trades, right? So just keep that in mind. Okay, we are sitting here when it comes to the futures. Okay, now good sign with futures is even if there is a little bit of redness, right, there's a ton of support sitting below. So will CPI give us something like this today, right? Or, right, if we look at something where it comes to the 4-hour time frame, put in these 2 major highs we've had, and we want to break out of that trend. Okay, when it comes to the dollar, guys, things can turn bullish very quickly. This dollar loses this. Right, so dollar is sitting here. So don't be surprised you do see a little bit of a pullback in the stock markets. Okay, but close below here, things get extremely bullish to the upside. Guys, have a fantastic day. Get your WEEX accounts. Next week, I'll be giving away more money to you guys. Lots of love. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.